Here's what you don't know about me, though, is I lived in North Korea for 6 months doing an internship.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
You really did?
No, I'm kidding.
I was gonna believe you because there was a time when Americans were allowed in North Korea. Here you go. That's you can speak into the mic.
Are you Korean?
I am North Korean.
You're North Korean?
I defected twice. Yes. When I first escaped North Korea, I was captured and sent back, and I went to when I was 15.
So you were captured by the North Korean?
No, I was captured by Chinese regime, and then the Chinese government sent me back to North Korea because China and North Korea.
So you went north, not south?
Yeah.
So did you escape the second time going south?
No, I escaped North Korea the second time when I was 16 and a half. And then I came to China. I swam across the river both times, and I came to China, and I've met South Korean missionaries who eventually helped me to make a connection with the broker.
So things could not have gone very well for you
the first time when I got captured. Yes, that is correct. That is correct. So I ended up in, of course, there was an intense interrogation. The period of why was I trying to defect South Korea, and what did I watch in China, and what kind of food that I ate in China, and what kind of people I met, the medias that I watched, tried to control as much information as possible, trying to contain me. And then
because they didn't want to release you back into the population with knowledge that they didn't want you
exactly.
spreading.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I was actually followed 24/7 even after I was released, right? And I went to this a forced labor camp. So it's called the United Nations calls it a North Korean Defectors Detention Center.
Re-education center.
Yeah. North Korean Defector. Well, but that's another term. There's another level higher up. That's called forced labor re-educational center. And then there is a prison. And then one level above.
So because you were so young, they thought that you were redeemable.
No, it's not because I was so young. It's because, yes, you're right. It's because I was so young, I didn't go to the 4 years prison camp. But the North Korean Defectors Detention Center is where everybody comes, right? Every North Korean defectors comes there, and they work there for however it takes for them to re-brainwash these people. And then the local government, right? So my hometown government has to come pick me up, and then they would take me to my hometown.
What about your family?
So my mom passed away when I was 11 out of starvation, and my dad abandoned me when I was 5. So essentially,
you didn't have any connection that you needed to worry about there.
Yes, and that's the reason why I can do this. Is because I don't have ties back in North Korea.
So the second time you escaped, that was kind of an all or nothing thing for you, because I'm guessing they captured you again. That was not going to go well.
That was not going to be it. It was going to be my death sentence. So if you go on YouTube and search Charles Street, my story, it's going to be on there. And essentially, I had no options, right? I was crossing the river, and a flood of light was on my back, and guard was screaming at me to turn back, but I knew that if I turn back, I'm gonna go back to the prison camp and starve to death. And if I stop here, I'm gonna drown. And either he's gonna shoot me, or I'm gonna keep going. And I kept going.
There's a certain freedom in that, though, right? You're just I only have one choice, so I'm doing that.
Yeah.
You're not hesitating.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't have any more to lose. Right.
Your English is very good.
Thank you, sir. That's what everybody says, and that's why they don't believe me. I'm from North Korea.
How did you learn English?
So I came to America back in 2012, and I went to high school without knowing any English. And I went to high school.
Did you have a sponsor here?
I did, yeah. So there is a sponsorship called the Catholic Charities of Santa Clara County, which is a nonprofit organization that helps refugees from all around the country, all around the world. And because I came to America as a minor, I was eligible to get this the benefit program. And if I came to America as an adult, that wouldn't be possible. So I went to high school, and of course, I watched a lot of Hollywood movies and shows. People say that Hollywood English is the standard English, right?
So your story sounds not dissimilar to Jerry O. Yang, the Chinese comedian who came here and had to learn. He's on Silicon Valley. You guys know Silicon Valley?
Jerry Yang? Jimmy Yang?
Is it Jimmy?
Yeah, I know him.
Yeah, if you listen to his autobiography, it's similar. I mean, it didn't come out of North Korea,
Right,
but
but
coming here and learning
English,
through
yeah.
TV and like rap and
Right,
and,
right.
and all of this stuff, right?
Right,
So,
right. And also, what helped the most is that I resettled in a city where there was no Korean, right? And that's also the mind-blowing thing too, is because when immigrants come to America, they tend to live in their own
right.
communities.
Yeah.
But whereas I had no community. My community was, my friends and
yeah, then so you
people who
you-
speaks English.
You have to do it, right?
right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
which I'm glad,
Yeah.
and I, so that I can speak English fluently and tell you about my story.
Yeah, your vocabulary's robust enough, right?
Oh,
that your
thank you.
your
Yeah,
pronunciation and all that. Yeah, that's pretty
Enunciate.
amazing story. Yeah.
So in a time period when I was in North Korea, I was kotebi, so I was living on the street after my mother passed away, and I was moving town to town and going to live with my aunt, being kicked out, and then when I was 14, my half brother helped me to escape North Korea for the first time to find my dad in China. And then unfortunately, because my dad didn't marry my mother, because like my family drama is really long in North Korea. So my grandfather came out to North Korea as a Chinese soldier that aid in the 1950s war, and he did not go back.
Go back, yeah.
Yeah, and then he stayed back in China, met my grandmother. They didn't speak, like my grandmothers didn't speak any Chinese. My grandfather didn't speak any Korean, but somehow they met and they made it happen, and they had my father. And North Korean regime gave those Chinese citizens, like Chinese soldiers, descendant, a choice, right? To be either, it can be North Korean, or we'll give you a citizenship of North Korean, but give you a passport so you can go back to China freely. So he had a dual citizenship.
So he could leave and
right,
yeah,
anytime. So if my dad were to marry my mother, right, and had me as a legal child, then I would have been Chinese too. But because I was a bastard, North Korean government didn't really care. And also Chinese government really didn't care too. That's why they capture me, send me back, and yeah. So every male, right, that is age of
has to be in the military.
Right. So for 12 years,
Yeah.
right, from 17 to 29. After they come back from the military, they're assigned a job from the regime, and they have to work in that assigned job. You don't get to choose.
Right. That's just like a strict communist.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's planned economy. So, what was the biggest, when you came to the United States, what was the thing that really struck you versus what you grew up with? Where did you come into the United States?
Concord. It's East
Concord.
Bay.
Okay,
yeah.
so the Bay Area.
Yeah, Bay Area.
Okay, so what was it that really struck you about America?
For me, for a while, it was ongoing, like culture shock, and just realization. But when I was in North Korea, I learned that North Korea have defeated the head-to-toe armed Japanese, right? And they won the war. North Korea, Kim Il Sung won the war.
Oh.
When the truth is America dropped the bomb twice on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and they surrendered, right?
So, like everything is, it's cultural, it's history, it's like an environment in which you can do, anything you pretty much. It must be like your limitation. Like in America, when you come here, you have a huge amount of limitations built into how you interact in the world. And none of them are here, right?
Yeah.
So that must have been a thing to get over.
Freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of movement, freedom of information. So
you're encouraged to complain about the government here.
Right, exactly. In North Korea, if you did that, you're gonna be gone like the next day. Like the moment that you did, you're gonna be gone.
Yeah, America sucks. I can just say that out loud, right? So,
yeah,
so it must have been pretty enlightening to see a whole different way.
So
we don't know a whole lot about North Koreans, but I think Americans in general think the people, we kind of feel sorry for the people,
Yep.
right? The government, and you see, one of the things that strikes me as an American, you look at Kim Jong-un, right, who is fat, and I think he is fat.
Well fed, right?
He's fat, and he does it to show his power, right? You can kind of see it, right? Because then you look at everybody that's kind of, the citizens there. It's pretty, so I think we have a lot of empathy for the people and interest. I'm sure you're finding that. I'm so happy you're here and part of our society now.
Thank you so much, yes.
That's fantastic.
Thank you so much.
I've lost my wife now.